Victory is not won on the battlefield. It is won in the mind long before the fight begins. Your greatest weapon is not strength, but strategy. The undisciplined mind is conquered easily, but the mind that is trained clear and still, it cannot be broken. In this lesson, I will teach you how to fortify your thoughts like a fortress, outwit chaos, and make your mind untouchable. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind, and tell us, where are you watching from? Listen carefully to what I am about to tell you, for these words carry the weight of centuries. In all my years of warfare, in all the battles I have witnessed and strategies I have crafted, one truth stands above all others. The mind is where every victory and every defeat begins. Before the clash of steel, before the thunder of cavalry, before the war cries echo across the field, there is a silent battle that determines all others. It is fought in the depths of your mind, in those quiet moments when you face yourself. Many seek strength in weapons, in armies, in walls of stone, but I tell you this, these are merely extensions of the mind's power. A sword in the hands of a confused mind is nothing but metal. An army led by a cluttered mind is nothing but chaos waiting to unfold. Think of your mind as a kingdom. Every thought is a soldier. Every belief is a general. Every doubt is an assassin, waiting in the shadows. Who rules this kingdom? Are you the emperor of your thoughts? Or are you besieged by fears that you did not choose to let in? Most people live their entire lives never knowing they are at war with themselves. They wonder why they cannot advance, why they cannot conquer their circumstances. They blame the terrain, the weather, the enemy, everything except the true battlefield. But you are different. You are here because something in you recognizes this truth. You have felt the combat in your consciousness, the clash between what you could be and what holds you back, the siege of negative thoughts against your ambitions, the guerrilla warfare of self-doubt against your confidence. Here is what most people don't understand. Strength of mind is not about positive thinking. It is about strategic thinking. It is about seeing your thoughts as forces to be deployed, terrain to be conquered, battles to be won. When a general prepares for war, he first studies the battlefield. You must do the same with your mind. Map its territories, know its weaknesses, understand where your defenses are strong and where they can be breached. This is not meditation. This is psychological warfare. Every morning when you wake, every night before you sleep, ask yourself, who controls the battlefield of my mind today? What thoughts have I allowed to establish strongholds? What beliefs are defending my empire, and which ones are undermining it? Remember this, the untrained mind is like a city with open gates. Thoughts come and go as they please. Emotions raid and plunder at will. But the disciplined mind, it is an impregnable fortress. It chooses what enters and what must stay outside. It deploys its forces with precision. It wins its battles before they are fought. You may think your problems are in the world outside, that your obstacles are made of circumstance and situation. But I tell you, with the authority of one who has commanded armies and toppled kingdoms, master your mind, and you master everything. That follows. The world does not yield to muscle. It yields to strategy. And strategy is born in the quiet chambers of a disciplined mind. This is where your journey begins, not in changing what is around you, but in fortifying what is within. You let others chase external power. You will build internal empire. Let them focus on the visible battle. You will win the invisible war. For when your mind becomes a fortress of clarity and purpose, the world itself will bend to your design. This is the first principle of making your mind invincible. Recognize. Where the real battle lies, it is not out there, it is in here, and it begins now. There is a question I ask every general before I allow them to command. Do you know yourself? Most answer quickly, confidently, without thought. These are the ones who will lead their armies to destruction. For in claiming to know themselves, without deep reflection, they have already proven their ignorance. But you must go deeper. To make your mind truly invincible, you must first map its current state with unflinching honesty. This is not the gentle self-reflection taught by monks. This is the brutal self-examination of a warrior preparing for battle. Here is what most don't understand about self-knowledge. It is not about listing your strengths and weaknesses like items in a merchant's inventory. It is about understanding the patterns of your mind's movement. How does it react under pressure? Where does it retreat when faced with fear? What causes it to abandon strategy for impulse? Think of yourself as a vast territory. There are peaks of excellence where you stand strong. There are valleys of weakness where you falter. There are rivers of emotion that can either nourish your fields or flood your defenses. Most importantly, there are hidden passages, unconscious patterns that enemies can use to infiltrate your fortress. Every morning, I want you to conduct a military inspection of your mind. Ask yourself, what thoughts are serving in my mental army? Which ones are loyal soldiers advancing my cause? Which ones are traitors undermining my command? Be ruthless in this assessment. A general who lies to himself has already lost. But here is where most fail. They try to eliminate their weaknesses completely. This is a fool's strategy. Even the strongest fortress has points that are less defended. The key is not to eliminate these points, but to know them intimately, to understand them so well that you can turn them into traps for your enemies. Your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, these are not your enemies. They are scouts, bringing you valuable intelligence about yourself. Learn to interrogate them. Why does this particular situation trigger fear? What past defeat taught you to doubt in this specific way? What perceived inadequacy fuels this insecurity? Let me tell you something about strength that few understand. True power lies not in being fearless, but in understanding your fears so completely that they become weapons in your arsenal. Every weakness, once fully known, becomes a potential source of strength. But this self-knowledge must be active, not passive. It is not enough to simply understand yourself. You must use this understanding to predict and prevent your own defeats. If you know that criticism causes you to react emotionally, you can prepare your defenses before the attack comes. If you know that uncertainty makes you hasty, you can build protocols to enforce patience. Here is a truth that will serve you. Well, most battles are lost not because the enemy is strong, but because the general does not understand his own forces. You are both the general and the army. Every thought, every emotion, every instinct is a unit under your command. But you cannot command what you do not comprehend. I want you to establish daily intelligence gathering about yourself, not the superficial kind that most engage in, but deep reconnaissance. What patterns emerged in your thinking today? What triggered your strongest reactions? What strategies worked and which ones failed? Document these findings like a general preparing for war, because that is exactly what you are doing. Remember this. In the battlefield of life, self-deception is self-destruction. Every time you lie to yourself about your motivations, you create a weak point in your defenses. Every time you ignore a pattern of failure, you leave a gap that your enemies, both internal and external, will exploit. The mind that knows itself cannot be ambushed. The warrior who understands their own patterns cannot be manipulated. The leader who has mapped their internal territory cannot be led astray. So begin now. Strip away the comfortable illusions. Face the hard truths about your mental patterns. Map every ridge and valley of your psychological terrain, for only when you truly know yourself can you begin to build an invincible mind. This is not a journey for the faint of heart. But then, again, you are not here to be ordinary, you are here to be invincible. And invincibility begins with the courage to know yourself completely. The greatest victory is the battle not fought. The strongest mind is the one that prepares so thoroughly that chaos itself becomes an ally. Listen closely, for I will teach you the art of mental preparation that has toppled kingdoms and raised empires. Most wait for the storm to learn sailing. Most wait for the battle to learn warfare. Most wait for crisis to build strength. This is why most fail. The invincible mind is forged in moments of peace, tempered in times of quiet, and tested in chaos. Here's what most people don't understand about mental preparation. It is not about imagining every possible scenario. It is about building a mind so stable, so well-trained, that it can turn any scenario to its advantage. Think of your mind as a great city. In times of peace, what does a wise ruler do? They strengthen the walls. They train the guards. They stock the granaries. They establish clear chains of command. Your mind requires the same diligence. Every morning, before the world's chaos begins its assault, you must fortify your mental stronghold. This is not mere meditation. This is psychological fortification. Begin with silence, not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of a sentry at their post, alert and aware. In this silence, build your mental infrastructure. First, establish your principles. These are your inner walls. What do you stand for? What will you never compromise? These are not questions for philosophers. These are military decisions that will determine your ability to withstand siege. Next, train your attention. This is your army. In peace, practice directing it where you choose, holding it there despite distractions. Start small. Focus on your breath for 5 minutes without wavering. If this seems too simple, you do not understand war. Every great battle is won through mastery of fundamentals. Here is a truth that the weak-minded never grasp. Chaos is not your enemy. Unpreparedness is. When you are truly prepared, chaos becomes your greatest ally. It will destroy your opponents while you stand unmoved. But how do you prepare for the unknown? Here is the secret. You don't prepare for specific events. You prepare your mind to be unshakable, regardless of the event. Build these 5 foundations daily. First, cultivate stillness, not the stillness of inaction, but the stillness of a blade about to strike. Practice finding calm within movement, silence within noise. Start with 5 minutes. Extend to an hour. Make stillness your natural state. Second, strengthen your mental stamina. Push your focus beyond comfort. If you can hold a thought for 1 minute, train for 5. If you can study for an hour, push for 2. Your mind must be conditioned to endure what others cannot. Third, develop strategic flexibility. The bamboo survives storms because it bends. Your mind must learn to adapt without breaking. Practice solving problems in unusual ways. Take familiar tasks and complete them differently. Break your patterns before life breaks them for you. Fourth, build emotional fortitude. Expose yourself gradually to discomfort, cold showers, difficult conversations, public speaking. These are not challenges to overcome. They are opportunities to strengthen your mind's resilience. Fifth, create mental contingencies, not detailed plans for every scenario, but fundamental responses that serve in any crisis. Like a well-trained soldier who has mastered basic movements, your mind should have core responses ready: how to find clarity in confusion, how to maintain balance in chaos, how to advance when others retreat. Remember this: the time to prepare your mind is not when the arrows are flying. It's not when the crisis has arrived. It's not when the challenge stands before you. The time is now, in these moments of peace that most waste. Every morning I want you to ask yourself, what have I done today to strengthen my mental fortitude? How have I prepared my mind for the battles ahead? Have I trained in peace, or have I waited for war? The untrained mind hopes for peace while fearfully awaiting crisis. The prepared mind creates peace even within crisis. This is not philosophy. This is strategy. Let others wait for challenge to build strength. You will build it now. Let them. Scramble in chaos. You will have already won through preparation. For when the storm comes, and it always comes, the prepared mind doesn't just survive, it thrives. This is the art of mental preparation, to be so thoroughly ready that crisis becomes opportunity, to be so deeply trained that chaos becomes advantage. to be so well prepared that victory is assured before the battle begins. Fear. It is the silent assassin that has destroyed more warriors than any sword, toppled more empires than any army. But here is what most don't understand. Fear itself is not your enemy. It is your relationship with fear that determines victory or defeat. Let me share with you the ancient wisdom that has guided generals through the darkest battles. Fear does not grow in the light of understanding. It breeds in the shadows of ignorance, multiplies in the darkness of uncertainty, and conquers in the void of strategy. Here is what most people don't grasp about fear. It is not a wall. It is a door. Behind every fear lies a power waiting to be claimed. But to claim this power, you must first understand fear's true nature. Fear has 3 roots. Know them, and you can cut them. The first root is uncertainty. When you cannot see the path ahead, when outcomes are unclear, fear finds fertile ground. This is why the untrained mind spends sleepless nights imagining disasters. But uncertainty is not your enemy. It is the natural state of existence. The wise warrior doesn't need certainty to act. They need only clarity of purpose. The second root is attachment. Fear grows strongest when you clutch tightly to what you might lose. Your reputation, your possessions, your comfort, even your ideas about who you are. The more desperately you hold on, the more power you give to fear. This is why the heaviest armor often becomes a soldier's tomb. The third root is memory. Past defeats, past pains, past failures, these are not lessons if they have become chains. Many warriors carry old battle scars not on their bodies but in their minds. These memories become prophecies, telling you what to fear, where to retreat, when to surrender. But here is the strategy to cut these roots. To sever uncertainty's root, embrace strategic thinking. Don't try to predict every outcome. Instead, build principles that serve you in any outcome. When you know your principles, uncertainty becomes irrelevant. The path might be unclear, but your response will always be clear. To cut the root of attachment, practice strategic detachment. This is not the renunciation of the monk. This is the calculated distance of the general. Care deeply about your mission, but hold loosely to specific outcomes. Love victory, but don't fear defeat. Want success, but don't be owned by it. To eliminate the root of memory, you must understand this. The past is not a prison unless you make it one. Every defeat, every failure, every moment of pain, these are not your destiny. They are training grounds. They show you where to strengthen your defenses, how to sharpen your strategy. Let me tell you something about fear that few understand. It is energy waiting to be redirected. The same force that makes your heart race can make your mind sharper. The same surge that makes your hands shake can make your resolve stronger. But this alchemy only happens when you stop fighting fear and start using it. Here is how to transform fear into power. First, name your fears specifically. Not, I am afraid of failure, but I fear losing this specific battle in this specific way. Vague fears are impossible to conquer. Named fears become tactical challenges to overcome. Second, map your fear's territory. When does it appear? What triggers it? What strategies does it use to paralyze you? This is not self-analysis. This is tactical reconnaissance. Know your fear's patterns better than it knows yours. Third, create action protocols. When fear strikes, what is your first move? Your second? Your third? Don't wait for courage to act. Act, and courage will follow. The prepared mind doesn't wait for fear to pass. It moves while afraid, and in moving, conquers fear. Remember this, the goal is not to become fearless. The goal is to become fear-proof. Like a fortress that has been tested by every siege weapon, your mind must learn to stand firm regardless of what fears assail it. The weak mind asks, what if I fail? The strategic mind asks, how will I use this fear to fuel my advance? The first question leads to paralysis. The second leads to power. Every morning, look your fears in the eye, not with bravado, but with strategic intent. Ask yourself, how will I use this fear today? What power lies behind this anxiety? What strength can I forge from this uncertainty? For in the end, fear is not your enemy unless you make it so. It is a force of nature, like wind or rain. The skilled sailor doesn't curse the wind. They learn to use it. The strategic mind doesn't curse fear. It harnesses it. This is the art of cutting fear's roots, not to eliminate fear, but to transform it, not to escape it, but to use it, not to be fearless, but to be fear-proof. This is how you build an invincible mind. In the heart of battle, when arrows darken the sky and chaos reigns supreme, the difference between victory and defeat often comes down to a single quality: stillness. Not the stillness of inaction, but the stillness of unshakable presence. This is what I will teach you now. Here is what most people don't understand about stillness. It is not the absence of movement, but the mastery of movement. It is not peace, but power under perfect control. When others panic, when they rush, when they lose themselves in the chaos, this is when stillness becomes your greatest weapon. Think of your mind as a pond. When it is disturbed, when ripples of anxiety and waves of reaction crash across its surface, everything becomes distorted. You cannot see clearly. You cannot act precisely. You cannot make the decisions that victory requires. But when that same pond is still, it reflects reality perfectly. It shows you exactly what you need to see. But how do you maintain stillness when everything around you is in motion? How do you keep your mind clear when others are losing theirs? This is the art I will teach you now. First, understand this. Pressure is not your enemy. Pressure is the force that either breaks you or transforms you into something stronger. Like a diamond formed under the earth's weight, your mind can become unbreakable, but only if you learn to use pressure correctly. Here is the strategy for mastering stillness under pressure. Begin with your breath. This is not meditation. This is tactical breathing. In moments of pressure, your breath becomes your anchor. Practice this. 3 seconds in, hold for 2, 4 seconds out. Do this now, as you listen. This is not just breathing. This is programming your nervous system for battle. Next, master the art of the tactical pause. When pressure mounts, when decisions loom, when chaos swirls, pause. Not the pause of hesitation, but the pause of the archer drawing their bow. One breath, one moment of perfect clarity, then action. Learn to recognize the signals of losing stillness, racing thoughts, tightening muscles, the urge to act without thinking. These are not signs to ignore. They are intelligence reports from your own territory. When you notice them, return to your breath, return to your center. But here's what separates the master from the novice. The master maintains stillness, not just in isolated moments, but in every situation. They train for this constantly. Here's how you will train. Start with small pressures. Take cold showers, not for endurance, but for practicing stillness while uncomfortable. Engage in difficult conversations while maintaining perfect composure. Hold plank positions while keeping your mind as calm as a mountain lake. Then, escalate. Put yourself in situations that trigger anxiety. Public speaking, competitive situations, difficult decisions, but your focus is not on the activity. It is on maintaining that internal stillness while engaging in the activity. Create artificial pressure in safe environments. Set timers for tasks. Raise the stakes of your training. Add complexity to simple activities. But throughout all of this, your mission remains the same. Maintain stillness. Remember this, the loudest mind in the room is usually the weakest. True power moves in silence. True strength needs no announcement. When others are reactionary, your stillness becomes a declaration of power. Here is what most don't grasp about pressure. It reveals what you have been practicing. If you have been practicing reaction, you will react. If you have been practicing stillness, you will be still. There is no faking this. It must be trained. Your daily practice should include these elements: physical stillness. Hold positions without fidgeting. Sit in perfect stillness for increasing periods. Stand like a mountain. This is not about comfort, it is about command. Mental stillness. Practice focusing on one thought, one task, one objective without deviation. When distractions come, and they will come, return to center without emotional reaction. Emotional stillness. Learn to feel intense emotions without being moved by them. Observe anger, fear, excitement as if watching clouds pass across the sky. They are there, but they do not control you. But here is the ultimate test of stillness. Can you maintain it while in motion? Can you keep your center while engaged in intense activity? This is what separates true mastery from mere practice. The ultimate goal is this: to be so internally still that external chaos becomes irrelevant. To be so centered that pressure becomes power. To be so composed that others naturally align themselves with your stillness. Let others be reactive. You will be responsive. Let them be rushed. You will be ready. Let them be shaken. You will be still. This is not philosophy. This is strategy. This is how you build an invincible mind. Through stillness, you become unstoppable. Through calm, you become unbeatable. Through presence, you become unshakable. Practice this today. Practice this now. For the ability to maintain stillness under pressure is not just a skill, it is a superpower. Listen carefully to what I am about to tell you, for this truth has transformed peasants into warriors and soldiers into legends. Mental strength is not a gift bestowed by heaven. It is a fortress built stone by stone, day by day, choice by choice. Here is what most people don't understand about mental strength. They believe it is like the mountains, something that either exists or doesn't. But I tell you this, it is more like a city. Every thought is a brick. Every decision is a wall. Every habit is a tower. You are the architect, the builder, and the guardian of this fortress. The weak mind waits for strength to arrive, like the seasons. The strategic mind builds it through deliberate action. Here is how you will build yours. First, understand the architecture of mental strength. It has three foundations: discipline, resilience, and strategic thinking. Like a three-legged stool, if anyone is weak, the entire structure becomes unstable. Discipline is not punishment, it is architecture. Every time you do what must be done, regardless of mood or motivation, you add a stone to your fortress. Every time you choose the difficult right over the easy wrong, you strengthen your walls. Here is your first building protocol. Start with the smallest unit of discipline. Wake at the same time every day, not when you feel like it, but when you have decided to. This is not about sleep. This is about command. Who rules your morning? Your impulses or your intentions? Next, build your resilience. This is not about enduring pain. It is about adapting to pressure. Start with discomfort training, cold showers, difficult tasks, challenging conversations. But remember this, the goal is not to suffer. The goal is to strengthen. Here is what separates the master builder from the amateur. The amateur builds randomly. The master builds systematically. You will build systematically. Morning protocol, physical challenge. This trains your body to obey your mind. Mental challenge. This expands your capacity for focus. Strategic review. This sharpens your decision-making. Midday protocol, stress test. Your focus, work without distraction. Challenge your assumptions, seek opposing views. Practice tactical patience. Delay immediate gratifications. Evening protocol. Review your construction. Analyze your decisions. Reinforce your foundations. Strengthen your principles. Prepare tomorrow's battleground. Plan your challenges. But here's the secret that most miss. Mental strength is not built through intensity alone. It is built through consistency. The warrior who trains fiercely for one day is still weak. The warrior who trains steadily for 1,000 days becomes unconquerable. Your daily building blocks must include decision training, Make clear choices, quickly. Start small, what to wear, what to eat, when to begin tasks. Graduate to bigger decisions. Each choice is a brick in your fortress. Emotional mastery. Feel fully but choose wisely. When anger rises, use it as energy for your construction. When fear appears, use it as motivation to strengthen your walls. Focus, cultivation. Attention is your mortar. It holds everything together. Train it like a muscle. Start with 5 minutes of absolute concentration. Build to an hour. Your mind will resist. Build anyway. Here is what the weak-minded never grasp. Comfort is the enemy of strength. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you dismantle a piece of your fortress. Every time you choose the easy path over the necessary one, you weaken your walls. Your construction schedule must be non-negotiable. Daily practice, these are your bricks. Weekly challenges, these are your stress tests. Monthly expansions, these stretch your capabilities. Quarterly assessments, these check your fortress's integrity. Remember this, the strongest fortresses are tested as they are built. Do not wait until completion to test your strength. Test it daily. Accept challenges that stretch you. Seek situations that scare you. Embrace tasks that humble you. Welcome criticism that grows you. But here is the ultimate truth about building mental strength. The construction never ends. There is no final brick, no completion ceremony. The moment you believe your fortress is finished is the moment it begins to weaken. The strategic mind understands this. Today's strength is tomorrow's weakness, if not continuously improved. Today's mastery is tomorrow's mediocrity, if not constantly challenged. So, begin now. Look at your current mental fortress. Where are the weak points? Where are the unguarded gates? Where are the crumbling walls? These are not failures, they are your next construction sites. Your task is clear. Build daily. Test regularly. Strengthen constantly. Let others wait for mental strength to find them. You will build yours with intention, with strategy, with unstoppable consistency. This is not motivation. This is architecture. This is not inspiration. This is construction. This is how you build an invincible mind. One choice, one challenge, one day at a time. There is a power that few understand, yet it has determined the fate of empires. It is not strength of arms nor brilliance of strategy, but something far more subtle, the power of detachment. This is not the detachment of the monk who retreats from the world. This is the detachment of the master strategist who engages fully while remaining internally free. Here is what most people don't understand about detachment. It is not about caring less. It is about caring skillfully. It is not withdrawal. It is strategic engagement. When you master this art, you will be like water, fully present, yet impossible to grasp. The untrained mind is like a general who becomes emotionally invested in every skirmish. Each setback feels like defeat. Each challenge becomes personal. Each criticism wounds deeply. This is not strength. This is weakness disguised as passion. But here is the paradox that will transform your mind. The less you cling, the more power you have. The less you demand, the more you achieve. The less you depend on specific outcomes, the more outcomes serve your purpose. Let me share with you the levels of detachment that every warrior must master. First level, detachment from outcomes. Most people are slaves to results. They chain their peace to their successes and bind their worth to their victories. This makes them weak. It makes them predictable. It makes them manipulatable. Here is your first training. Set clear objectives, pursue them with full force, but hold no emotional attachment to their achievement. Like an archer who aims with perfect focus, but feels no anxiety about hitting the target. Second level, detachment from recognition. The need for acknowledgement is a chain that binds many warriors. They fight for praise. They work for approval. They lead for acclaim. This need becomes their weakness, their blind spot, their vulnerability. Your training here, do what must be done with excellence, but desire no applause. Seek no validation, need no recognition. Let your actions speak and let the results testify. Third level, detachment from position. Those who cling to their rank, their status, their position become prisoners of it. They cannot adapt. They cannot grow. They cannot seize opportunities that require letting go of who they think they are. Your practice. Hold your position lightly. See your role as a garment you wear, not your identity. Be ready to change forms as the situation demands, like water taking the shape of any container. But here is what separates true detachment from mere indifference. You engage fully while remaining internally free. This is how. Strategic engagement. Protocol. Commit completely to the action. Detach completely from the outcome. Focus entirely on the process. Release all need for control. Remember this. Attachment is the source of most strategic failures. When you must win, you become desperate. When you must be right, you become blind. When you must maintain control, you become rigid. The master of detachment has these powers. They cannot be manipulated through their desires. They cannot be controlled through their fears. They cannot be defeated through their attachments. Here is your daily practice for cultivating detachment. Morning detachment. Release expectations for the day. Accept all possible outcomes. Commit to excellence without attachment. Set intentions without demanding results throughout the day. Notice where you cling. Observe what you resist. Release what you grasp. Flow with what emerges. Evening review. Examine where attachment caused suffering. Notice where detachment brought clarity. Plan tomorrow's practice. Release today's outcomes. But here is the ultimate test of detachment. Can you care deeply while holding lightly? Can you give your absolute best while remaining unattached to the result? Can you fight with full force while staying internally free? This is not philosophy. This is strategy. When you master detachment, you gain these tactical advantages. Clear vision unclouded by emotional investment. Flexible response unmarred by rigid expectations. Strategic patience unburdened by desperate need. Tactical freedom unbound by fear of loss. Your mind becomes like the sky. Storms pass through it, but they cannot disturb its vastness. Your consciousness becomes like the ocean. Waves rise and fall on its surface, but they cannot affect its depths. Practice this today. When pressure mounts, detach. When stakes rise, detach. When emotions surge, detach. Not to escape, but to engage more effectively. Not to withdraw, but to respond more strategically. For in the end, the most powerful position is to be fully engaged, yet internally free. 2. Care deeply, yet hold lightly. To fight fiercely, yet remain unbound. This is the power of detachment. This is how you make your mind truly invincible. In all my years of warfare, I have seen armies destroyed not by external forces, but by internal enemies. The same is true of the mind. Your greatest opponents do not attack from outside. They emerge from within. Today, I will teach you how to identify, isolate, and eliminate these internal adversaries. Here is what most people don't understand about internal enemies. They disguise themselves as allies. They present themselves as protectors. They mask themselves as essential parts of who you are. This is why they are so dangerous. Let me reveal to you the most dangerous internal enemies that can sabotage your mind. Pride, the first and most cunning enemy. It appears as confidence, but acts as poison. It makes you unteachable. It blinds you to weaknesses. It turns strength into vulnerability. Many warriors have fallen not to superior forces, but to their own pride. How to identify it? Resistance to feedback, difficulty admitting mistakes, constant need to prove worth, inability to learn from others. The strategy against pride is not humility. It is strategic self-awareness. Examine your victories as critically as your defeats. Question your successes as deeply as your failures. Jealousy, the second internal enemy. It poses as ambition, but acts as poison. It makes you react to others' victories as if they were your defeats. It turns other warriors' strengths into your weaknesses. It blinds you to your own path. How to detect it? Comparison-based thinking, diminishing others' achievements, feeling threatened by others' success. Focus on what you lack rather than what you can build. The counter strategy is not suppression, it is redirection. Turn every moment of jealousy into a blueprint for growth. Let others' achievements become your study materials, not your sources of pain. Impulsiveness, the third deadly enemy. It masquerades as intuition, but acts as chaos. It makes you mistake reaction for action, confusion for clarity, speed for progress. Its warning signs: decisions made in emotional heat, actions taken without strategic consideration, consistent regret. After quick choices, pattern of avoidable mistakes. The solution is not hesitation, it is strategic pause. Create space between stimulus and response. Make this your mantra. Between trigger and action lies my power. But here's the most dangerous enemy of all: self-deception. It is the commander of all internal enemies. It protects them, it hides them, it justifies them. It makes you see weakness as strength, confusion as clarity, fear as wisdom. Here is your strategy for defeating these internal enemies. First, recognition, protocol, daily self-examination, honest inventory of thoughts and actions, regular feedback from trusted allies, documentation of patterns and triggers. Second, isolation protocol. Identify the enemy's territory in your mind. Map its patterns of operation. Understand its tactical advantages. Locate its sources of power. Third, elimination protocol. Cut off its supply lines, thoughts that feed it. Destroy its hiding places, justifications that protect it. Remove its allies. Habits that support it. Transform its territory. Replace negative patterns with strategic ones. But remember this: these enemies cannot be eliminated once and forgotten. They must be hunted daily. Here is your daily warfare practice. Morning intelligence gathering. What internal enemies are active today? Where are they likely to attack? What strategies do I have prepared? What reinforcements do I need? Midday battlefield assessment. Which enemies have shown themselves? What tactics have they used? Where have my defenses held? Where have they breached? Evening strategic review. What victories were achieved? What losses were sustained? What new strategies were learned? What defenses need strengthening? Here is what the weak mind never grasps. Internal enemies are not permanent residents. They are invaders that can be expelled. They are not parts of your identity. They are foreign forces that have occupied your territory. Your mind is not meant to be a battlefield of constant conflict. It is meant to be a command center of strategic clarity. But this can only happen when internal enemies are identified and eliminated. Let me give you the ultimate strategy for dealing with internal enemies. Turn them into intelligence assets. Every time pride rises, let it show you where you need growth. Every time jealousy appears, let it reveal what you truly value. Every time impulsiveness strikes, let it expose where you need better strategies. This is not self-help. This is psychological warfare. This is not personal development. This is strategic conquest. This is how you clean your territory of saboteurs and spies. Remember, external enemies can be defeated through strategy. Internal enemies must be defeated through awareness. The first requires skill. The second requires courage. Begin now. Map your territory. Identify your enemies. Plan your campaign, for only when the enemy within is defeated can the mind become truly invincible. Listen carefully, for I am about to share with you one of the most powerful secrets of mental warfare. Emotions are not your enemies. They are not weaknesses to be suppressed. They are weapons to be mastered, forces to be harnessed, powers to be directed. Here is what most people don't understand about emotions. They treat them as invaders to be fought, or weaknesses to be hidden. This is why they remain weak. The master strategist knows better. They turn every emotion into a tactical advantage. Let me show you how to transform each emotion from a potential weakness into a strategic weapon. Anger, the most misunderstood force in your arsenal. The untrained warrior lets anger control them. The strategic warrior controls anger. They shape it, direct it, use it as fuel for decisive action. How to weaponize anger. Channel its energy into focused action. Use its heat to forge stronger resolve. Transform its power into strategic pressure. Direct its force toward precise targets, but remember this: anger uncontrolled is like fire in your own fortress. Anger properly channeled is like fire in your weapon. Fear. Most try to eliminate it. This is a fool's strategy. Fear is not your enemy. It is your scout. It brings you intelligence about threats. It heightens your awareness. It sharpens your focus. Strategic use of fear. Let it highlight what needs attention. Use it to increase tactical awareness. Transform it into detailed preparation. Channel it into thorough planning. The weak mind serves fear. The strategic mind makes fear serve them. Grief? Many see it as pure weakness, but properly used, grief becomes a source of understanding, a well of strength, a foundation for growth. It deepens your strategic wisdom. It expands your tactical empathy, tactical applications of grief. Use it to understand human nature, transform it into deeper resilience, channel it into meaningful purpose, convert it into strategic motivation. Remember, grief unmanaged breaks you. Grief properly channeled transforms you. But here is the key to emotional mastery that most miss. It's not about controlling emotions, it's about directing them. Like a river, emotions cannot be stopped, but they can be channeled. Here is how. First, recognition protocol. Identify the emotion as it arises. Assess its current strength. Understand its trigger map, its natural direction. Second, tactical assessment. What power does this emotion contain? How can this force be directed? What strategic advantage can it provide? What risks must be managed? Third, strategic deployment channel. The emotion's energy. Direct its force toward objectives. Maintain tactical awareness. Adjust as needed for maximum effect. But here is what separates the master from the amateur: the ability to use multiple emotions in concert. Like a general commanding different units, you must learn to deploy various emotional forces together. Combined emotional operations. Use anger for drive, fear for precision, blend, grief for depth, joy for resilience. Combine passion for power, calm for control. Mix determination with patience, your daily emotional warfare training. Morning emotional intelligence. What emotions are present? How can they serve today's objectives? What combinations will be most effective? Where must control be maintained? Midday. Tactical assessment. Which emotions have been well used? What forces need redirecting? Where has control been maintained? What adjustments are needed? Evening strategic review. How were emotions deployed effectively? What opportunities were missed? Which combinations worked best? What lessons were learned? Remember this: every emotion has power. Every feeling has force. The weak mind is enslaved by these forces. The strategic mind harnesses them. Here is your ultimate emotional warfare strategy. Never suppress an emotion. Redirect it. Never fight a feeling. Channel it. Never serve an emotion. Make it serve you. Never fear emotional power. Master it. This is not emotional intelligence. This is emotional warfare. This is not about feeling better. This is about using every feeling better. This is how you turn supposed weaknesses into undeniable strengths. Let others be controlled by their emotions. You will control them. Let others suppress their feelings. You will deploy them. Let others be weakened by their emotional states. You will be strengthened by them. Begin now. What emotion is present in this moment? Don't push it away. Don't fight it. Ask yourself, how can this force serve my strategy? How can this power advance my purpose? For when you master your emotions, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, you become truly invincible. In the realm of warfare, the loudest general is often the weakest. In the domain of the mind, the constant need to speak reveals internal insecurity. Today, I will teach you the most overlooked weapon in the arsenal of mental warfare: strategic silence. Here's what most people don't understand about silence. They see it as absence of words, absence of action, absence of power. But true silence is not empty. It is full of strategy, full of strength, full of unshakable presence. The weak mind chatters constantly to prove its worth, to mask its doubt, to fill its emptiness, to claim its territory. But the strategic mind knows better. It understands that silence is not the absence of power, it is power contained, power focused, power waiting to be deployed. Let me share with you the levels of strategic silence that every warrior must master. First level, physical silence. This is not mere quiet. This is commanding presence. When others nervously fill the air with words, you fill it with presence. Your silence becomes a force that others must contend with. How to practice physical silence. Start with 5 minutes of absolute stillness. Graduate to 15 minutes of total presence. Advance to 30 minutes of commanding quiet. Master the art of speaking only when strategic. Second level, mental silence. Deeper than physical quiet is mental stillness. The untrained mind is a marketplace of rushing thoughts, competing voices, constant commentary. The strategic mind creates spaces of perfect clarity between thoughts. Training protocol for mental silence. Observe your thoughts without engaging. Create deliberate pauses between thoughts. Extend the duration of mental clarity. Master the art of strategic thinking. Third level, strategic silence. This is silence with purpose. This is quiet with power. This is the silence that makes others reveal their positions, expose their weaknesses, display their strategies. Tactical applications of strategic silence. Use silence to draw out information. Deploy quiet to create pressure. Utilize stillness to observe deeply. Apply restraint to maintain advantage. But here is the supreme level of silence that few ever reach. Presence silence. This is not just the absence of noise, it is the presence of unmistakable power. It is the silence that commands rooms, that shifts atmospheres, that changes outcomes without a word being spoken. Your daily practice for mastering strategic silence. Morning, silence protocol. Wake in silence, move in silence, prepare in silence. Center in power throughout the day. Speak only when it serves strategy. Listen more than you speak. Observe more than you show. Think more than you say. Evening assessment. Review words that served purpose. Identify unnecessary speech. Plan tomorrow's strategic silence. Strengthen silent presence. Remember this: every word you speak is a tactical decision. Every silence you maintain is a strategic position. The untrained warrior speaks to prove power. The master warrior's silence proves power. Here are the weapons that silence gives you. The power of observation. Others reveal while you watch. The advantage of mystery. Others guess while you know. The force of presence. Others react while you remain steady. The strength of restraint. Others exhaust while you conserve. But here is what separates masters of silence from mere practitioners. They know when to break it. Strategic silence is not about never speaking. It is about speaking only when speech serves strategy. When you do speak, your words should be precise as arrows, powerful as cavalry, timed like ambush, effective as siege. Your silence should be deep. As oceans, strong as mountains, clear as sky, present as earth. This is your tactical advantage. While others rush to fill every silence, you will maintain it. While they speak from insecurity, you will be quiet from strength. While they reveal their positions through endless words, you will guard yours with strategic silence. Practice this today. Count your words like arrows in a quiver. Measure your speech like rations in battle. Guard your thoughts like plans in war. Deploy your silence like troops in formation. Here is what the weak mind never grasps. True power rarely needs to announce itself. True strength seldom needs to speak its name. True mastery often manifests in silence. Let others fill the air with empty words. You will fill it with powerful presence. Let them speak to prove their worth. Your silence will prove yours. Let them rush to be heard. You will wait to be felt. This is not about being quiet. This is about being powerful. This is not about saying nothing. This is about saying exactly what strategy requires, when it requires it, how it requires it. For in the end, the most powerful position is not the loudest voice in the room. It is the silence that makes others question their noise. It is the presence that makes others reconsider their words. It is the power that needs no proclamation. This is the strategy of silence. This is how you make your mind truly invincible. Every battle is fought twice, first in the mind, then in the world. But here is what most warriors never grasp. The story you tell yourself about the battle shapes its outcome before the first sword is drawn. Today, I will teach you how to master the most powerful force in mental warfare, the narrative that runs through your mind. Here is what most people don't understand about mental narratives. They believe their thoughts tell them the truth about reality. This is their first and greatest mistake. Thoughts are not truth, they are weapons. And like any weapon, they can be forged, sharpened, and wielded with precision. The untrained mind is at the mercy of its stories. Stories of limitation, tales of past defeats, narratives of fear, sagas of self-doubt, but the strategic mind knows better. It understands that every thought is a choice, every narrative a tactical decision, every story a battlefield to be commanded. Let me show you how to take control of your mind's narrative. First level, recognition of current narratives before you. Can command your mental story, you must know what tales currently rule your mind. Like a general surveying enemy positions, you must map the narratives that influence your actions. Common enemy narratives to identify: I am not ready, this is too difficult, I have failed before, others are better. These are not truth. These are strategic weaknesses waiting to be transformed. Second level, tactical narrative construction. Once you identify your current stories, you must learn to craft new ones. Not feel-good fantasies, but strategic narratives that serve your objectives. Components of powerful narratives: clear purpose at the core, strategic perspective on challenges, tactical framing of obstacles, commanding view of capabilities. But here is the key most miss. The power of a narrative lies not in its positivity, but in its strategic value. I am unstoppable is not as powerful as every obstacle makes me stronger. Your daily narrative warfare protocol, morning strategic review. Identify current mental stories, assess their tactical value, deploy strategic replacements, reinforce commanding narratives throughout the day, monitor narrative drift, correct strategic alignment, strengthen core stories, eliminate weakening tales. Evening narrative assessment, review story. Effectiveness, analyze narrative breaches, plan tomorrow's mental tactics, strengthen strategic themes. Remember this: every thought that passes through your mind is either strengthening or weakening your position. There is no neutral ground in the battlefield of consciousness. Here are your weapons in narrative warfare. Reframing, turn obstacles into opportunities. Transform challenges into advantages. Convert setbacks into strategic gains. Shape defeats into tactical lessons, strategic interpretation. Read events through tactical lens. Extract advantage from every situation. Find power in every position. Create opportunity in every obstacle. Narrative deployment, plant thoughts that serve strategy. Remove stories that weaken resolve. Position, tales that build strength. Deploy narratives that ensure victory. But here is what separates masters from amateurs. They understand that narrative control is not about positive thinking. It is about strategic thinking. Every story must serve a tactical purpose. Offensive narratives. Every challenge increases my power. Resistance strengthens my resolve. Opposition reveals my path. Difficulty sharpens my edge. Defensive narratives. I cannot be broken by temporary defeat. My strength grows through adversity. My mind remains clear in chaos. My purpose stands unchanged by circumstance. Tactical narratives. Every situation offers strategic advantage. Every moment presents tactical opportunity. Every position can be turned to victory. Every challenge reveals new weapons. Your mission is clear. Become the supreme commander of your mind's narrative. Let no story enter without your permission. Let no tale remain that doesn't serve your strategy. Let no narrative exist that doesn't strengthen your position. Practice this today. Guard your mind's gates like a fortress. Inspect every thought for strategic value. Deploy only narratives that serve power. Eliminate stories that create weakness. In the end, the most powerful position is not having no negative thoughts. It is having complete strategic command over every thought. It is not about feeling good. It is about thinking powerfully. Let others be victims of their mental stories. You will be the author of yours. Let them be ruled by their narratives. You will rule yours. Let them be weakened by their tales. You will be strengthened by yours. This is not psychology. This is warfare. This is not therapy. This is strategy. This is how you make your mind truly invincible. In warfare, the army that cannot adapt is already defeated. In the battlefield of the mind, rigidity is death. But here is what most never grasp. True adaptation is not about changing everything. It is about maintaining your core while adjusting your tactics. Today, I will teach you the art of strategic flexibility. Here is what most people don't understand about adaptation. They think it means surrendering who they are to every new situation. This is not adaptation. This is dissolution. True strategic flexibility is about changing your methods while maintaining your essence. Think of your mind as a great tree. The roots are your core principles. The trunk is your fundamental character. The branches are your tactical approaches. The leaves are your daily adaptations. The weak tree breaks in the storm. The strong tree bends, but notice this. It bends without surrendering its position. It adapts without uprooting itself. Let me show you the levels of strategic adaptation that every warrior must master. First level, tactical flexibility. This is the most basic form of adaptation. It involves changing your methods while maintaining your mission. Like a river, finding new paths to the same destination. Components of tactical flexibility. Multiple approaches to each objective. Various strategies for each goal. Different methods for each mission. Alternate routes to each target second. Level, strategic adaptation. Deeper than changing tactics is adapting strategy. This means shifting your entire approach while keeping your core purpose intact. Elements of strategic adaptation. Reading changing circumstances, adjusting overall approach, modifying strategic position, maintaining central purpose, but here is the highest level, centered transformation. This is the art of complete adaptation while maintaining absolute stability at your core. Like a lighthouse in a storm, turning to face every wind while standing unmoved, your daily practice for mastering adaptive stability. Morning centering. Protocol. Affirm core principles, review fundamental purpose, strengthen essential character, prepare for tactical flexibility throughout the day. Adapt methods as needed, adjust approaches to circumstances. Modify tactics for effectiveness. Maintain core stability, evening assessment. Review adaptations made. Evaluate effectiveness. Check core alignment. Plan tomorrow's flexibility. Remember this, the goal is not to become different. It is to become adaptable. Not to change your essence, but to expand your expression. Not to lose your center, but to operate powerfully from it in any situation. Here are your principles of strategic adaptation. The immutable core, your fundamental values, your essential purpose, your core character, your central mission. These never change. They are your center, your root, your foundation, the flexible elements, your tactical approaches, your strategic methods, your operational procedures, your external expressions. These must adapt constantly. They are your branches, your leaves, your adaptive interface with reality. But here's what separates masters from amateurs. They understand that adaptation is not reaction. It is strategic response. Every change must serve your core purpose. Adaptive protocols. Assess the situation without emotional reaction. Identify required changes while maintaining center. Implement adaptations without losing essence. Evaluate effectiveness while preserving. Core, here is your strategic advantage. While others change randomly, you will adapt purposefully. While they lose themselves in transformation, you will remain centered in change. While they become different with every wind, you will become more yourself through every adaptation. Your daily adaptation training. First, center protocol, ground in core principles. Connect with fundamental purpose, align with essential character. Strengthen internal stability. Second, flexibility training practice, different approaches. Experiment with new methods. Try alternate strategies. Explore various tactics. Third, integration practice. Adapt while maintaining center, change while preserving essence. Transform while keeping core. Evolve while staying grounded. Remember this wisdom. The most powerful positions is not rigid strength or complete flexibility. It is centered adaptability. The ability to change everything except what matters most. Let me give you the ultimate strategy for centered adaptation. Before any change, ask, does this serve my core purpose? Does this align with my fundamental principles? Does this maintain my essential character? Does this strengthen my central mission? If the answer is yes, adapt freely. If no, stand immovable. Practice this today. Be fluid in your methods. Be flexible in your approach. Be adaptable in your tactics. Be unchangeable in your core. For in the end, the most powerful position is not being unmovable like a mountain or completely fluid like water. It is being both. Solid at center, fluid in expression, unchangeable in essence, adaptable in form. Let others lose themselves in change. You will find yourself through it. Let them be swept away by circumstances. You will use circumstances to become stronger. Let them abandon their center to adapt. You will adapt from your center. This is not philosophy. This is strategy. This is not theory. This is warfare. This is how you make your mind truly invincible. Listen carefully to what I am about to tell you, for this truth has determined the fate of empires. The battle is won before it begins. The mind is fortified before it is tested. Victory is achieved in preparation, not in the moment of conflict. Here is what most people don't understand about preparation. They see it as a burden, a tedious necessity before the real action begins. This is why they remain weak. The master strategist knows better. They understand that preparation is where power is built, where victory is secured, where invincibility is forged. Think of your mind as a fortress about to be besieged. Every routine is a wall being strengthened. Every practice is a weapon being sharpened. Every preparation is a defense being fortified. Every protocol is a strategy being mastered. The unprepared mind hopes for victory. The prepared mind ensures it. Let me show you the levels of preparation that every warrior must master. First level, physical preparation. This is not merely about strength. It is about creating a vessel capable of executing your mind's commands without hesitation. Daily physical protocols, morning energy cultivation, midday power, maintenance, evening strength restoration, night recovery optimization. Second level, mental preparation. Deeper than physical readiness is mental preparedness. This is about creating a mind that remains clear and powerful under any circumstance. Mental preparation protocol, dawn clarity practices, daily focus strengthening, evening mental fortification, night mind restoration. But here is the highest level, strategic preparation. This is where you prepare not just your capabilities, but your entire position for victory. Your comprehensive preparation system, morning strategic review. Assess potential challenges, map probable obstacles, plan tactical responses, position strategic advantages throughout the day. Strengthen weak points, reinforce strong positions. Practice. Critical responses, perfect key capabilities. Evening preparation audit. Review. Preparation effectiveness. Identify preparation gaps. Strengthen defensive positions. Plan tomorrow's fortification. Remember this: every moment of preparation is a brick in your fortress of invincibility. Every practice is a weapon being added to your arsenal. Every protocol is a strategy being embedded in your consciousness. Here are the pillars of strategic preparation: mental fortification, clarity protocols, focus enhancement, strategic thinking, practice tactical response training, emotional preparation, stability practices, resilience building, power state anchoring, response pattern optimization, physical readiness, energy management, strength maintenance, recovery optimization, performance, enhancement. But here is what separates masters from amateurs. They understand that preparation is not about predicting every possibility. It is about becoming capable of handling any possibility. Your preparation must include fundamental protocols, daily power practices, weekly strength reviews, monthly capability assessments, quarterly strategic planning, advanced preparation, crisis response simulation, pressure testing protocols. Weakness. Identification. Strategic gap closing master level. Preparation. Integrated response systems, automated power protocols, instantaneous adaptation capability. Complete strategic readiness. Here is your strategic advantage. While others wait for challenges to strengthen them, you will strengthen yourself before challenges arrive. While they hope for victory, you will ensure it through preparation. Your daily preparation mandate. First, foundation strengthening core capability. Enhancement, basic protocol mastery. Fundamental skill refinement, essential power cultivation. Second, strategic positioning advantage creation, defense fortification response, preparation, victory ensuring. Third, mastery development, advanced capability. Building, supreme protocol, mastery, ultimate preparation, achievement, complete strategic readiness. Remember this wisdom: the most powerful position is not being ready for everything, it is being prepared for anything, not knowing what will happen, but being ready when it does. Let me give you the ultimate preparation strategy before any significant engagement. Ensure your mind is fortified, your responses are ready, your position is strong, your victory is assured. Ask yourself these questions daily. What weaknesses need strengthening? What capabilities need enhancement? What responses need preparation? What victories need ensuring? Practice this today. Prepare as if tomorrow brings your greatest challenge. Train as if your next test will be your hardest. Strengthen as if your biggest battle approaches. Ready yourself as if victory depends on today's preparation. For in the end, the most powerful position is not being able to handle anything. It is being prepared for everything, not being ready when challenges come, but being ready before they arrive. Let others wait for battles to strengthen them. You will be strong when battles come. Let them hope for victory. You will ensure it through preparation. Let them react to challenges. You will be ready before challenges exist. This is not motivation. This is strategy. This is not inspiration. This is warfare. This is how you make your mind truly invincible. In all my years of warfare, I have seen armies with superior numbers defeated by smaller forces. I have watched mighty warriors fall to seemingly weaker opponents. The deciding factor was not strength, not strategy, but something far more powerful: focus. Today, I will teach you how to master the ultimate weapon of the mind. Here is what most people don't understand about focus. They see it as mere attention, as simple concentration. This is why they remain weak. True focus is not just attention. It is power directed with absolute precision. It is force channeled with perfect clarity. It is energy deployed with supreme purpose. Think of your mind as a ray of sunlight. Scattered, it barely warms the earth. Focused through a lens, it can ignite fires. Concentrated to its essence, it can cut through steel. The unfocused mind is like an army scattered across too many battlefields, powerful but ineffective. The focused mind is like an army united in perfect formation, unstoppable. Let me show you the levels of focus that every warrior must master. First level, external focus. This is the most basic form. It is the ability to direct your attentions to external tasks, goals, and objectives without distraction. Components of external focus: task concentration, goal direction, objective clarity action, precision, second level. Internal focus. Deeper than external focus is the mastery of your internal world. This is about directing your thoughts, emotions, and energy with perfect precision. Elements of internal focus: thought control, emotional direction, energy management, mental clarity. But here's the highest level: strategic focus. This is where you direct not just your attention, but your entire being toward your chosen purpose. Your daily focus mastery protocol: morning focus cultivation, clear mental space. Set strategic priorities, align energy channels, prepare concentration power. Throughout the day, maintain razor-sharp attention, eliminate unnecessary distractions, channel energy precisely, deploy focus tactically, evening focus, review, assess focus effectiveness, identify concentration breaches, strengthen weak points, plan tomorrow's deployment. Remember this: every distraction is a defeat. Every loss of focus is a strategic failure. Every scattered thought is a waste of power that could have been directed toward victory. Here are your weapons of focus: concentration power, single-point attention, sustained focus capability, distraction, immunity, mental laser precision, energy direction, purpose alignment, power channeling, force concentration, strategic deployment, tactical application, priority execution, resource allocation, effort optimization, maximum impact achievement. But here is what separates masters from amateurs. They understand that focus is not just about what you pay attention to, it is about what you strategically ignore. Your focus mastery must include elimination, protocol, remove unnecessary inputs, cancel irrelevant commitments, silence useless noise, clear strategic space enhancement, protocol, strengthen attention span, increase focus duration, improve concentration, power maximize mental clarity integration, protocol, align all resources, unite all energies, coordinate all efforts, direct all powers. Here is your strategic advantage. While others scatter their forces, you will concentrate yours. While they divide their attention, you will unify yours. While they try to do everything, you will do what matters with absolute precision. Your daily focus training. First, clarity creation. Clear mental space. Remove distractions. Create focus environment. Establish power position. Second, power direction. Channel mental energy. Align all resources. Concentrate all forces. Deploy full attention. Third, strategic maintenance. Guard against distraction. Maintain laser focus. Sustain power direction. Preserve mental clarity. Remember this wisdom: the most powerful position is not having many capabilities. It is having absolute focus on your most important capability. Not doing many things well, but doing the essential thing with perfect precision. Let me give you the ultimate focus strategy. Before any engagement, ask, is this worthy of my focus? Does this deserve my energy? Will this advance my purpose? Should this receive my power? If the answer is no, ignore it completely. If yes, focus on it totally. Practice this today. Focus like a laser cutting through steel. Concentrate like a lens igniting fire. Direct your power like an arrow seeking its target. Channel your energy like a river flowing to the sea. For in the end, the most powerful position is not having infinite energy, it is having perfectly directed energy. Not being able to do everything, but doing what matters with absolute precision. Let others scatter their attention. You will concentrate yours. Let them try to do everything. You will do what matters perfectly. Let them be distracted. You will be directed. This is not concentration training. This is power deployment. This is not attention management. This is force direction. This is how you make your mind truly invincible. Listen carefully, for I am about to share with you a truth that has determined the outcome of countless battles. The warrior who reacts emotionally has already lost. The warrior who responds strategically has already won. Today, I will teach you the art of strategic response. Here is what most people don't understand about response. They believe their immediate emotional reactions are natural, unavoidable, even necessary. This is why they remain weak. Every emotional reaction is a tactical surrender. Every impulsive response is a strategic defeat. Think of your mind as a great general. Reactions are like soldiers charging without orders. Emotions are like troops acting without strategy. Impulses are like armies moving without purpose. Strategic responses are like forces deployed with precision. The reactive mind serves emotion. The responsive mind commands it. Let me show you the levels of strategic response that every warrior must master. First level, reaction recognition. Before you can respond strategically, you must first identify your reactive patterns, like a general studying the weaknesses in his own army. Common reactive patterns to identify: anger when challenged, fear when threatened, pride when questioned, doubt when tested. Second level, response development. Once you recognize reactions, you must develop strategic responses, not suppression of emotion, but transformation of its power into tactical advantage. Elements of strategic response: pause before action, assess before movement, plan before deployment, execute with precision. But here is the highest level, strategic command. This is where you turn every trigger, every provocation, every challenge into an opportunity for tactical advantage. Your daily strategic response protocol: morning preparation, review likely triggers, prepare tactical responses, set strategic positions, establish command protocols. Throughout the day, maintain strategic awareness, execute planned responses, adjust. Tactical approaches: preserve command position, evening assessment, review response effectiveness, analyze tactical success, identify improvement areas, plan tomorrow's strategies. Remember this: every situation that triggers an emotional reaction is actually offering you a strategic opportunity. The only question is whether you will seize it or surrender to it. Here are your weapons of strategic response. The tactical pause. Create space between trigger and action. Assess situation without emotion. Identify strategic options. Choose optimal. Response. The strategic frame. Transform triggers into intelligence. Convert challenges into advantages. Turn provocations into opportunities. Use opposition as leverage. The command position: maintain tactical control, preserve strategic advantage, deploy. Responses: precisely, execute with purpose. But here is what separates masters from amateurs. They understand that strategic response is not about having no emotions. It is about having complete command over their deployment. Your response mastery must include recognition, protocol, identify emotional triggers, map reactive patterns, understand response tendencies, know tactical weaknesses, development protocol, create strategic responses, build tactical options, establish command procedures, perfect execution, methods integration, protocol, align responses with strategy, connect tactics with purpose, unite emotion with intention, coordinate power with precision. Here is your strategic advantage. While others are slaves to their reactions, you will be master of your responses. While they surrender to emotion, you will deploy it with strategy. While they are controlled by circumstances, you will control your engagement with them. Your daily response training. First, Command establishment. Take tactical pause. Assess strategic. Position review response options. Choose optimal approach. Second, power deployment. Execute with precision. Maintain strategic frame. Preserve tactical advantage. Control engagement parameters. Third, strategic assessment. Evaluate response effectiveness. Analyze tactical success. Adjust strategic approach. Improve command position. Remember this wisdom. The most powerful position is not having no triggers. It is having complete command over your response to them. Not feeling no emotion, but deploying every emotion strategically. Let me give you the ultimate response strategy. Before any response, ask, does this serve my strategy? Does this maintain my advantage? Does this advance my position? Does this command the situation? If not, pause. Reassess. Choose a response that does. Practice this today. Turn every trigger into tactical advantage. Transform every provocation into strategic opportunity. Convert every challenge into command position. Use every opposition as leverage for victory. 4. In the end, the most powerful position is not being untouchable. It is being uncontrollable. Not avoiding triggers, but commanding your response to them. Not escaping situations, but mastering your engagement with them. Let others be ruled by their reactions. You will rule your responses. Let them be controlled by circumstances. You will control your engagement. Let them be victims of situation. You will be masters of strategy. This is not emotional control. This is strategic command. This is not impulse management. This is tactical mastery. This is how you make your mind truly invincible. In all my years of warfare, I have seen more armies destroyed by choosing the wrong battles than by losing the right ones. The same is true of the mind. Today, I will teach you the supreme art of strategic selection, knowing which battles to fight, which to delay, and which to ignore completely. Here is what most people don't understand about battle selection. They believe every challenge must be met, every insult answered, every opposition engaged. This is why they remain weak. They exhaust themselves in meaningless skirmishes while the real war remains unwon. Think of your mind as a kingdom's resources. Every engagement costs energy. Every battle depletes strength. Every conflict consumes focus. Every fight expends power. The untrained warrior fights every battle. The strategic warrior wins the war. Let me show you the levels of battle selection that every warrior must master. First level, tactical assessment. Before any engagement, you must evaluate its strategic value. Not every attack deserves a defense. Not every challenge warrants a response. Assessment criteria: strategic importance, resource requirement, victory value, position impact. Second level, battle qualification. Deeper than assessment is the art of qualification. This is where you determine not just if a battle can be won, but if it should be fought at all. Qualification metrics: purpose alignment, strategic advantage, resource efficiency, victory impact. But here is the highest level: war vision. This is where you see beyond individual battles to the larger campaign, where you understand that sometimes losing a battle serves winning the war. Your daily battle selection protocol: morning strategic review. Identify potential engagements. Assess strategic value. Determine resource requirements. Plan selective responses throughout the day. Evaluate each challenge. Choose strategic battles. Ignore tactical distractions. Preserve essential power evening assessment. Review battle choices. Analyze engagement value. Assess resource allocation. Plan tomorrow's strategy. Remember this: every battle you choose not to fight is energy preserved for the battles that matter. Every conflict you strategically avoid is power saved for decisive engagements. Here are your weapons of selective engagement: strategic filters, purpose alignment check, resource requirement assessment, victory value analysis, position, impact evaluation, tactical. Screens: engagement necessity, test, response requirement, check, battle value assessment, power preservation analysis, command decisions, strategic engagement choice, tactical withdrawal option, resource allocation decision, power deployment, selection. But here is what separates masters from amateurs. They understand that strategic victory often comes not from fighting better, but from choosing better which battles to fight. Your battle selection mastery must include engagement protocol, clear victory conditions, defined strategic value, confirmed resource availability, verified position advantage, withdrawal, protocol, strategic, disengagement timing, resource preservation method, position maintenance strategy, power conservation technique. Ignore protocol, non-essential battle identification, strategic bypass method, energy preservation technique, focus maintenance strategy. Here is your strategic advantage. While others exhaust themselves fighting every battle, you will preserve your power for decisive engagements. While they waste energy on meaningless conflicts, you will concentrate force on strategic victories. Your daily selection training. First, battle assessment. Evaluate strategic value. Assess resource requirement. Determine victory impact. Check position. Advantage second. Engagement decision. Choose strategic battles. Bypass tactical distractions. Preserve essential power. Maintain strategic focus. Third, resource management. Allocate power efficiently. Preserve critical energy. Concentrate force effectively. Deploy strength strategically. Remember this wisdom. The most powerful position is not being able to win every battle. It is knowing which battles must be won, not fighting every fight, but winning the ones that matter. Let me give you the ultimate battle selection strategy. Before any engagement, ask, does this battle serve my war? Does this conflict advance my strategy? Does this fight warrant my power? Does this engagement deserve my energy? If the answer is no to any of these, strategic withdrawal is not defeat. It is wisdom. Practice this today. Choose your battles with strategic precision. Select your engagements with tactical wisdom. Pick your fights with resource awareness. Make your choices with war vision. For in the end, the most powerful position is not being able to fight everything. It is being wise enough to fight only what matters. Not winning every battle, but winning the right battles. Let others exhaust themselves in meaningless conflicts. You will preserve your power for decisive moments. Let them fight every battle. You will win the war. Let them chase every engagement. You will choose your victories. This is not conflict avoidance. This is strategic selection. This is not battle fear. This is war wisdom. This is how you make your mind truly invincible. Listen carefully to what I am about to share, for this truth has eluded even the mightiest of warriors. True power lies not in what you do, but in what you could do and choose not to. The greatest strength is not in the strike, but in the restraint. Here is what most people don't understand about power. They believe it is shown in action, in force, in demonstration. This is why they remain weak. True power is revealed in containment, in control, in the perfect mastery of potential force. Think of your mind as a drawn bow. The power is not in the release. The strength is in the hold. The mastery is in the weight. The victory is in the restraint. The untrained warrior rushes to prove power. The master knows that power proven is power diminished. Let me show you the levels of restraint that every warrior must master. First level, physical restraint. This is the most basic form. It is the ability to contain physical force, to hold back action, to maintain stillness when impulse demands movement. Components of physical restraint: action control, force containment, movement mastery, power preservation. Second level, mental restraint. Deeper than physical control is mental restraint. This is about containing thoughts, controlling responses, mastering internal forces, elements of mental restraint, thought control, response management, impulse mastery, decision discipline. But here is the highest level, strategic restraint. This is where you understand that sometimes the most powerful move is no move at all. your daily restraint protocol, morning power containment, center your force, ground your energy, control your power, master your potential. Throughout the day, maintain strategic patience, practice tactical restraint, exercise power control, demonstrate force mastery, evening assessment, review restraint victories, analyze control, successes, evaluate patience rewards, plan tomorrow's mastery. Remember this: every impulse controlled is power gained. Every reaction restrained is force preserved. Every action withheld is strength accumulated. Here are your weapons of restraint: power containment, force control, energy management, strength preservation, power accumulation, strategic patience, tactical, timing, response delay, action control, movement mastery, control mastery, impulse management, reaction discipline, force, regulation power direction. But here is what separates masters from amateurs. They understand that restraint is not weakness. It is power under perfect control. It is not inaction. It is chosen action. Your restraint mastery must include control, protocol, impulse recognition, response, delay, force containment, power preservation timing, protocol, strategic assessment, tactical patience, action timing, movement, precision power protocol, force accumulation, energy conservation, strength building power mastery. Here is your strategic advantage. While others exhaust their power in constant demonstration, you will accumulate force through restraint. While they weaken themselves through constant action, you will strengthen yourself through strategic containment. Your daily restraint training. First, power recognition. Acknowledge your force. Understand your strength. Know your power. Master your potential. Second, control development practice containment, exercise restraint. Build control. Perfect mastery. Third, strategic application. Choose your moments. Time your actions. Direct your force. Deploy your power. Remember this wisdom: the most powerful position is not in constant demonstration of strength. It is in the perfect control of power. Not in showing what you can do, but in mastering what you could do. Let me give you the ultimate restraint strategy. Before any action, ask, is this the perfect moment? Is this the necessary force? Is this the strategic choice? Is this the wise deployment? If not, restraint is not weakness. It is wisdom. Practice this today. Hold your power like a drawn bow. Contain your force like a dammed river. Master your strength like a tamed storm. Control your potential like a leashed dragon. For in the end, the most powerful position is not in constant action. It is in perfect control, not in showing strength, but in mastering it, not in using power, but in containing it. Let others rush to prove their power. You will prove yours through restraint. Let them exhaust their force. You will preserve yours through control. Let them demonstrate constantly. You will master consistently. This is not suppression. This is supremacy. This is not weakness. This is warfare. This is how you make your mind truly invincible. We have arrived at the supreme understanding, the highest wisdom of mental warfare. True power lies not in fighting everything, but in reaching a state where nothing needs to be fought. When you have mastered your mind, the world's chaos becomes your ally, its conflicts your advantage, its battles your victory, without you lifting a sword. Here is what most people don't understand about ultimate mastery. They believe it means dominating everything, controlling every situation, winning every conflict. This is why they remain weak. True mastery is reaching a state where the world's own momentum serves your purpose. Think of your mind as the eye of a storm. Around you, chaos rages; within you, perfect calm. Beyond you, forces clash through you. Power flows. The untrained warrior fights the storm. The master becomes its center. Let me show you the levels of supreme mastery that make this possible. First level, position mastery. This is where you learn to position yourself so perfectly that others' actions serve your purpose without your intervention. Elements of position: strategic placement, tactical advantage, natural leverage, effortless influence. Second level, state mastery. Deeper than position is the mastery of your internal state. This is where you become so centered that external chaos cannot touch your core. Components of state: unshakable presence, internal harmony, perfect balance, complete clarity. But here is the highest level: flow mastery. This is where you align so perfectly with the natural flow of events that victory comes without struggle. Your daily supreme mastery protocol: morning alignment, center in power, align with flow, position. Strategically, prepare effortlessly. Throughout the day, maintain perfect position. Stay in natural flow. Let chaos serve you, remain untouched by conflict. Evening. Integration, review effortless victories, assess natural advantages, strengthen strategic position. Plan tomorrow's mastery. Remember this: the highest victory is not in fighting the world into submission. It is in reaching a state where the world submits itself to your purpose. Here are your weapons of supreme mastery: position power, strategic placement, natural advantage, effortless influence, perfect stance flow, force, natural alignment, effortless movement, perfect timing, strategic drift state, strength, internal harmony, unshakable center, complete clarity, perfect balance. But here is what separates ultimate masters from mere practitioners. They understand that true power lies not in making things happen, but in allowing everything to serve your purpose. Your supreme mastery must include alignment, protocol, position, perfectly flow, naturally move effortlessly. Succeed inevitably integration protocol, blend with circumstances, merge with momentum, unite with energy, harmonize with force mastery protocol. Perfect your position, polish your presence. Refine your response, master your mind. Here is your ultimate advantage. While others fight against the world, you will let the world fight itself. While they struggle against the current, you will let the current carry you. While they resist reality, you will let reality serve you. Your daily supreme practice. First, center establishment. Find your perfect center. Establish your position. Align your energy. Prepare your power. Second, flow integration. Merge with momentum. Move with energy. Flow with force. Succeed with ease. Third, mastery maintenance. Maintain your center. Preserve your position. Continue your flow. Sustain your power. Remember this wisdom: the most powerful position is not one of constant struggle, it is one of perfect alignment. Not fighting against the world, but letting the world's own forces serve your purpose. Let me give you the ultimate strategy of supreme mastery. Before any engagement, ask, can this resolve itself? Will chaos serve my purpose? Does this require my force? Is intervention necessary? If not, perfect position is better than perfect action. Practice this today. Let opposing forces neutralize each other. Allow chaos to create your order. Permit resistance to defeat itself. Enable conflict to serve your peace. For in the end, the most powerful position is not one of constant engagement. It is one of perfect positioning. Not fighting every battle, but letting battles fight themselves. Not controlling everything, but influencing outcomes through perfect placement. Let others exhaust themselves fighting reality. You will let reality fight for you. Let them struggle against the current. You will flow with it to victory. Let them battle chaos. You will let chaos serve your order. This is not passivity. This is supreme activity. This is not surrender. This is ultimate victory. This is how you make your mind truly invincible. For when you reach this state of mastery, you will understand the highest truth. The truly invincible mind doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. It doesn't fight the world. It lets the world fight itself. And in this perfect position, in this supreme state, you become truly unstoppable. This is not the end. It is the beginning. For true mastery has no end point, no final destination. It is an eternal journey of refinement, of positioning, of flowing, of becoming. Now, go. practice what you have learned. Apply these principles. Master these strategies. And remember, the greatest victory is not in defeating the world. It is in transcending the need to fight it at all.